You sit there in the half-light of evening, the room heavy with unspoken weight. The air feels thick, like velvet pressing against your skin, and your chest tightens with each breath. A subtle ache you've grown so accustomed to, it's become the rhythm of your heart. Outside, the world moves in sharp clarity, but inside you, everything blurs. The edges of your thoughts, the boundaries of your worth. You glance at the mirror, not really seeing, because what reflects is never enough. Never quite right, never fully deserving. This is the wound that whispers in the quiet moments, the core archetype of inherent unworthiness. It's the deepest emotional scar, etched in childhood when love felt conditional, when praise was sparse and criticism abundant. The hidden survival mechanism, a relentless armor of striving, a compulsion to prove yourself through perfection, achievement, or invisibility, shielding against the terror of rejection. And the lifelong behavioral pattern, a cycle of self-erasure, where every step forward is shadowed by doubt, every victory hollowed by the fear that you'll be exposed as fraudulent. Here's the paradox, unfolding like a thorned vine in your soul. The trigger that once kept you safe, the drive to be good enough to earn belonging, is now silently breaking you. It protected the fragile child within from abandonment, from the void of not mattering. But in adulthood, it devours from the inside, turning your life into a performance where the audience is your own unforgiving gaze. You chase validation like a mirage in the desert, only to find your thirst unquenched. The safety net has become a noose, tightening with every unmet expectation. And yet, you cling to it, because letting go means facing the abyss. What if, without this striving, you truly are nothing? Now, let's descend into the architecture of this wound, where psychology meets the raw nerve of human existence. At its core lies the inadequacy schema, a concept from Jeffrey Young's schema therapy, where early experiences forge a blueprint of self as defective, unworthy of love unless proven otherwise. This isn't mere low self-esteem, it's a neural imprint wired into the amygdala's alarm system, where every perceived failure triggers a flood of cortisol, the stress hormone that once signaled danger, but now erodes your peace like acid rain on stone. Imagine your nervous system as an ancient fortress, built brick by brick from childhood neglect or conditional affection. Polyvagal theory from Stephen Porges illuminates this. Your vagus nerve, the wandering guardian of safety, gets stuck in dorsal shutdown, a freeze state where connection feels threatening and isolation becomes the default. You weren't born this way. Trauma vocabulary calls it developmental betrayal, where caregivers' inconsistencies teach your limbic system that vulnerability equals pain. So, you adapt. Hyperarousal in the sympathetic branch keeps you vigilant, scanning for disapproval like a deer in wolf territory. Then there's attachment theory, John Bowlby's legacy, revealing the insecure avoidant or anxious preoccupied styles that stem from this wound. If love were earned through performance, your identity crystallizes around it, a fragile crystal palace where self-worth is outsourced to others' approval. Emotional patterns emerge as loops. The highs of fleeting validation crash into lows of self-loathing, dopamine spikes followed by serotonin droughts. Your prefrontal cortex, meant for rational self-assessment, hijacks itself with rumination, replaying failures in high definition. Metaphors abound in this inner landscape. It's like carrying an invisible backpack filled with stones, each one a memory of not enough, compressing your spine until your posture bends toward defeat. Or think of it as a phantom limb. The absence of innate worth aches perpetually, even as you intellectually know it shouldn't. Trauma imprints don't fade. They reshape the hippocampus, distorting memory so past rejections color the present, turning neutral interactions into indictments. In neural terms, this is neuroplasticity gone awry, synapses firing in patterns of self-doubt, strengthening pathways of criticism while atrophying those of self-compassion. The wound shapes identity as a mosaic of fragments pieced together from external mirrors, always incomplete. Self-worth becomes a currency devalued by inflation. No matter how much you earn, it's never sufficient. This archetype isn't pathology, it's a human echo, resonating through generations, but understanding it is the first crack in the armor. Feel it now, the invisible grief that pools in your chest like unshed tears, a reservoir of sorrow for the self you never allowed to bloom. This wound exacts an emotional toll that's silent, insidious, a slow hemorrhage of the soul. Internal conflict rages. The part of you that yearns for rest battles the enforcer demanding more, creating a civil war where exhaustion is the only victor. You wake tired, not from lack of sleep, but from the weight of perpetual inadequacy, a gravity that pulls you earthward. Emotional exhaustion manifests as a fog, dulling joy, muting colors in a world that should be vibrant. Existential tension hums beneath. Why exist if not to prove? This is the quiet despair Rilke spoke of in his letters, urging us to live the questions amid uncertainty. Yet here the question, am I enough, becomes a tormentor, not a guide. Rilke whispers, be patient toward all that is unsolved in your heart. But patience feels impossible when the heart is a battlefield scarred by self-rejection. Jung enters the fray, his shadow archetype looming large. The not good enough wound is the shadow's cradle, the repressed self we disown, projecting onto others our own unworthiness. We envy the confident, resent the successful, all while ignoring the gold in our own darkness. Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This fate is the lifelong echo of unacknowledged pain, repeating patterns like a scratched record. Seek approval, fail to find it within, grieve anew. Nietzsche's gaze pierces deeper, his eternal recurrence a mirror to this cycle. Would you relive this inadequacy infinitely? The thought terrifies, yet he urges amor fati, love of fate, as the path through. But first, the cost. A soul fragmented, where joy is provisional, love conditional. Seneca, the Stoic sentinel, contrasts this with virtue's sufficiency. He who is brave is free, yet bravery falters when the enemy is internal doubt. Seneca repeats, true wealth is self-contentment, but this wound robs it, leaving poverty of spirit. Repetition underscores the weight. Not enough, not enough, not enough, echoing in decisions deferred, dreams abandoned. Philosophical contrast sharpens it. Where Nietzsche demands overcoming, Rilke offers tenderness, Jung integration, Seneca detachment. Yet all converge on the grief, the loss of the authentic self buried under layers of performance. The internal weight crushes slowly, relationships strained by unspoken needs, careers stalled by fear of failure. This is existential tension incarnate, to be or not to be enough. The question haunts, exhausts, but in its depths lies the seed of awakening. And so it unfolds in adulthood, this archetype weaving through the fabric of your days like an unseen thread, pulling taut at unexpected moments. You might find yourself in a boardroom, heart pounding, second-guessing every word, convinced one slip reveals your fraudulence, the imposter syndrome that shadows success. They become adults who overcommit, saying yes when the soul screams no, boundaries porous as sand, leaking energy to please others. This is how it shows up in your relationships, a dance of distance where intimacy terrifies because vulnerability might confirm the unworthiness. You attract partners who echo the wound, critical, withholding, mirroring the inner critic. Or you become the giver, exhausting yourself to earn love, only to resent the imbalance. In career, it's the perpetual ladder climb. Promotions pursued not for passion, but proof. Yet each rung leaves you hollow, fearing the fall. Boundaries erode. You tolerate toxicity, whispering, "I deserve this," self-worth tethered to output, not essence. Emotional responses skew. Praise deflects like water on oil. Criticism burrows deep, festering. You might numb with busyness, addictions subtle, workaholism, perfectionism, avoiding the quiet where doubt roars. Identity fragments. Who are you without the mask? The chameleon adapts, losing self in roles, parent, professional, friend, always performing, never being. They become adults who self-sabotage, opportunities squandered at the brink of success, relationships ended preemptively to avoid rejection, procrastination as protection, shielding from failure's sting. In self-worth, it's the daily ritual of comparison, scrolling feeds that amplify inadequacy. Emotional highs crash harder, joy feels borrowed, grief amplified. You might notice it in small ways, apologizing excessively, downplaying achievements, seeking reassurance like air. Or in the body, tension in shoulders, a clenched jaw from grinding against inner judgment. This is the pattern's grip, 10 symptoms etched across life. Relational push-pull, career stagnation, boundary violations, self-worth volatility, hypervigilant emotions, fragmented identity, chronic fatigue, avoidance of risks, people-pleasing compulsions, and silent self-erasure. But here's the pivot. Awareness illuminates. Self-witnessing begins with pausing, observing the thought, not enough without fusion, like watching clouds pass. Unlearning demands gentle inquiry. Where did this belief root? Journal the origins, trace the threads. Therapy as excavation, peeling layers to reveal the worthy core. Challenge the narrative, collect evidence of sufficiency, small acts of self-assertion. Boundaries as reclamation. Say no, not from fear, but sovereignty. They become adults who rewrite, choosing presence over perfection, vulnerability over armor. This unlearning isn't erasure, it's integration, turning the wound into wisdom. Awareness is the key. Unlock it, and the cycle loosens its hold. Now, breathe into the healing, the gentle unraveling where you become the guardian you once needed. Nervous system grounding anchors it. Practices like somatic experiencing, where you track sensations, releasing stored trauma from the body. Place a hand on your heart, feel the rise and fall, whispering, "You are safe now." This recalibrates the vague, shifting from freeze to flow. Polyvagal ladders climbed rung by rung. Inner child reparenting is the heart's work. Visualize the small you, scared and striving, and offer what was withheld, unconditional embrace. You are enough as you are, repeated like a mantra, rewiring neural paths with compassion. Emotional boundaries fortify. Discern needs from wounds. Protect your energy without walls, allowing connection without consumption. Shadow work, Jungian alchemy, invites integration. Face the disowned inadequacy, not as enemy but teacher. Journal dialogues with the critic. Transform judgment into curiosity. Rituals aid, walks in nature, mirroring Earth's unconditional acceptance. Breathwork to exhale old stories. Healing isn't linear, a spiral upward with setbacks as invitations deeper. Reparent daily, affirmations grounded in truth, not platitudes. I am worthy of rest. Boundaries as self-love. Decline invitations that drain. Cultivate relationships that reflect your value. As closure dawns, remember Nietzsche. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Your why is self-understanding, the wound's gift transmuted. Rilke echoes, let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. The goal is not to fix yourself, but to understand yourself. In that understanding, the lifelong effect softens. Unworthiness yields to wholeness. You are enough, not despite the wound, but through it.